Welcome back to Crutchfield Park for game number 2 between the Charlottesville Tom Sox and the Strasburg Express. Luke Ned Carney, Zach Lambert with you here for this second end of the doubleheader, and Charlottesville took game 1 6-4, and Zach, it was that 4th, 5th, and 6th inning of a 7-inning game. Strasburg loaded the bases twice, couldn't push a run across. Charlottesville loaded the bases in their half of the 5th. They got 3 runs across. That was pretty much the story of the game.
Yeah, when I talked with Coach Corey Kohler earlier today, he was telling me how deep their bullpen is and how strong that big of a strength that he thinks that bullpen and just the whole pitching staff really is for the Charlottesville Tom Sox team. And it came through in a big way for the Tom Sox, stranding the bases loaded twice. And the lineup came through. You know, it was a lineup that Coach Kohler said was kind of, stagnant at times, but they were able to come through. And we mentioned that double by Cole Foster with 2 outs and nobody on in the bottom of the 5th. That really kick-started that whole rally.
Star of the game for the Tom Sox in game 1 was Wyatt Langford. He was 3 for 4 with a triple and a home run. He finished just a double short of the cycle. And we believe he is the first Tom Sox player to hit both a triple and a home run in the same game in team history. And he also had a nifty unassisted double play out at first base. And we'll segue that into the Tom Sox starting lineup here in the field. A lot of the same players, some different ones, some different positions. At third base, it's Brett Lindsay back in his position from game 1. Cole Foster moves from second to short, and Cam Guidry moves from short to second. Garrick Ebel is at first base, and Langford will do the catching he switches places with Ebel for game 2. In the outfield, Logan Amos will get his first action of the evening in left with Mackenzie Pate in center, and Elijah Nunez moves over to right in his first day as a Tom Sox player. They will face a Strasburg lineup that looks like this. Will Portera, the second baseman who got the first game off, will lead things off, followed by the designated hitter Chad Ferry, who had 2 home runs for Strasburg in the first game as the left fielder. Batting third is the first baseman Ryan Galaney. He was the designated hitter in game number 1, and Brayton Brown, the center fielder, reassumes his cleanup position. Trip McKinley moves from second to third, and he bats 5th. And a new catcher for Strasburg from game number 1. It's Graham Crawford, as he replaces Ty Hooks, who did a great job in the first game. In left field, batting 7th is J.J. Souza, and Zach Ketterman moves from third to short and bats 8th, and rounding out the lineup, Carson Coffey in right field. As Strasburg has changed uniforms, they wore the camo in the first game, and now they're in the purple with the black sleeves, white pants, and Charlottesville has also traded uniforms, and they're now in the lime green sleeveless jerseys with navy blue sleeves, navy blue numerals. Tom Sox in white across the front of the jersey and white pants as well. And it'll be Dylan Janik taking the mound for the Tom Sox, as he will get the start out of Rice University. And he had a bit of a tough time last time out against the Winchester Royals. He was hit around, and actually one of his college teammates in his last start hit a grand slam off of him.
Yeah, a little bit of a punch in the gut there. Last time he started was the nightcap of a doubleheader as well last week. So look for him to bounce back tonight. This being his 3rd start of the season. He's got a 7.2 ERA, but a lot of that came in that game last week. 10 innings, 8 hits, 8 earned runs, 11 walks in those 10 innings, but 10 strikeouts. So he's going to strike a lot of guys out, but he's going to walk a lot of guys too. And this Express team, very patient at the plate. We talked about it in the first broadcast. This is a team that has the most walks in the league. So look for them to be patient and work the count, and hopefully, if you're the Tom Sox, Dylan Janik can find the strike zone today.
Our umpires for game 2, they're the same guys that we had for game number 1, but they'll switch places. Matthew Pearman calls the balls and strikes, and Greg Howard moves out to umpire the bases, as the umpires have also changed uniforms. They wore the light blue in game number 1, and now with the sun sinking low, they will wear the black, as a nice crowd still remains here at Crutchfield Park. Free admission all season long to Tom Sox games, courtesy of Carter Bank and Trust. We'd like to thank them for their support over the years, and this year especially, as they sponsor free admission for all home games. As some of the Strasburg fans as well have remained, as digging in, Will Portera to lead off game number 2 against Dylan Janik. And at 8:08 Eastern time, we are underway as the first pitch is over the outside corner for a strike. Portera, his first action of the day, he's a switch hitter out of the University of Alabama, listed as an infielder and a catcher, native of Memphis. Alabama was an NCAA tournament participant this year, eliminated in the Ruston Regional, as he loses the bat and fouls this one out of play.
Yeah, Portera, not a ton of at-bats so far, only 13 at-bats coming into this game. He did not play in Game 1, but he's only hitting 154 so far, just 2 for his first 13, so a little bit of a slow start for Portera, but look for him to be a spark plug at the top of the lineup and try to turn his season around.
No, it works. It's just some half innings and the keyboard will just stop it.
Janik looking in.
So I was just curious because when I click it sometimes.
This game, too, will also be 7 innings as Janik now steps off. Chad Ferry, the DH, who had 2 home runs in the first game, waits on deck for the Express. He was the first batter to hit 2 homers against the Tom Sox since August of 2019 as the 0-2 is up and away for a ball.
Janik, a tall, imposing youngster on the mound, standing at 6'5", and when you're that tall, I mean, and then you're standing on the mound, it's really an intimidating sight for a batter, especially when you're coming down over the top like Janik does.
The 1-2. Straight down the middle, strike 3 called, and a good start for the Tom Sox on the hill as there's one away.
There's Janik using a fastball as a put-away pitch, and that's really been his go-to pitch so far this season, that fastball. He likes to move it all over the strike zone, likes to elevate it there. He puts it on the outside corner. Nice pitch from him there, but that'll bring up Chad Ferry, who did a bulk of the damage last game.
He had 3 RBIs on 2 home runs, driven 3 of those 4 Strasburg runs by himself, and occupying the same spot in the batting order that he did in game number 1. He takes a strike as the 2-hole hitter. Getting the day off, or I should say the game off in the field, as he played left field in game number 1 and fouls that one out of play. And I'm telling you, someone's car is in for it.
Yeah, Ferry in the designated hitter role today, or in the nightcap, but still got to be careful with him. Remember, the first game started off with a strikeout, and then he came back and hit a home run.
This one won't be a home run. It's on the ground to second. Guidry charging. It's going to be a tough play. He flips it to first, and the play made by Ebel, 2 away.
Good play there by Guidry, noticing that he didn't really have enough time to plant his feet and throw it there as Ferry was hustling down the line. So more of like a shovel type of pass over to first base and in time. But props to Ferry for a hard 90 there, something that, you know, in the big leagues you don't see a lot of, but these guys trying to get some work in this summer, and a good hard 90 there from Ferry, who hit 2 home runs last game, and he doesn't take anything for granted.
That looked like a Pat Mahomes to Travis Kelce shovel pass down near the goal line.
100%.
As that'll bring up Ryan Galaney, who was the designated hitter in game 1. Now he plays the field at first base. Fouls the first pitch away.
Galaney was a thorn in the side of the Tom Sox in game 1. He was on base 3 times, walked twice, was 1 for 2 at the plate, stole a couple of bags.
One of those guys you love to have on your team and you hate to play against. The 0-1 from Janik, swinging a missed strike 2.
5th in the league in terms of batting average, tied for 1st in home runs. Early season MVP candidate so far for the Express, a team that have really been rolling.
The 0-2, swinging a missed strike 3, and a good-looking first inning for Dylan Janik. He mows them down in order. After 1/2 inning, Strasburg 0, and the Tom Sox coming to bat here in game number 2. You're listening to Tom Sox Baseball. Bottom of the first. Upcoming at Crutchfield Park. Tom Sox, top of the order, will face Landon Harper. And as the Express started a left-hander in game number 1, they start a right-hander here in game number 2. He's out of Meridian, Mississippi. Played at Southern Miss, who made it to the NCAA tournament this year, the Oxford Regional, and they were eliminated in that round.
Yeah, different look for the Tom Sox. They saw two lefties to start off the first game before the righty came in to pitch. But for Landon Harper rather, this is his first start of the season, his 5th appearance. He's thrown 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, but he struck out 13 in those 6 innings. Walked 4 though, so kind of like Janik, a high strikeout but high walk guy. So we'll see how these Tom Sox fare in game 1, which featured a lot of walks. Little note about the Tom Sox is that in games that they win, they have double the amount of walks as they do in games that they lost. So when they're patient and they're working the pitchers, they're having more success at the plate as opposed to when they're jumping on pitches early. So we'll see how Harper can see if he can find the zone and settle in.
And it will be Garrick Ebel leading things off, just as he did in the first game. However, he's at a different position here in game number 2. He's playing first base as he swapped with Wyatt Langford. Ebel, Langford, and Garrett Spikes will start things off for the Tom Sox. That's a called strike over the inside corner. Mackenzie Pate bats cleanup. Cole Foster 5th. Elijah Nunez 6th. Cam Guidry 7th. Logan Amos 8th. And Brett Lindsay rounding out the order against Harper, who misses downstairs. Defensive alignment for Strasburg. Trip McKinley at 3rd. Zach Ketterman at short. Will Portera at 2nd. Ryan Galaney at 1st. 1-1 count to the batter. Ebel out of Virginia Tech. And that one is downstairs for a ball. And rounding out the defense for Strasburg, J.J. Souza in left field. Brayton Brown in center. Carson Coffey in right. And behind the plate, Graham Crawford catching for Landon Harper.
Ebel had a bit of a rough go of it in the first game, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts.
That one is downstairs in the hitter's count now for Ebel.
This
who wears number 7.
That for a guy who only struck out 5 times in 33 at-bats going into that game.
And he hits this one well and sharp, but into the Strasburg bullpen foul.
He's cooled off a little bit since coming back from that injury, and you could see the frustration there after he smoked that ball down the left field line. Kind of did a little hop-skip type of thing after he saw it hook foul. And that's just kind of how things go. When you're not swinging the bat exactly how you want, you'll hit a ball well.